Mackenzie Shirilla and everyone surrounding her, more specifically her parents that are enabling her, are going to be ultimately her downfall and why she may never be released from prison. She may never be released. Here's my thing. She took 2 lives, okay? She got 15 years to life sentences, but they're being served consecutively. So she's serving it together. So she's really only serving 15 years. Her parents say that she's innocent. Regardless, she murdered 2 people. So if she was to get, say, manslaughter, right? 2 manslaughter sentences. Manslaughter in Ohio is from 1 to like 15 plus years, depending on whether it's a felony and depending on the severity and how many lives are lost. Okay. I would assume for it being two lives, she'd get the higher end, the 11 years, the 11 to 15 year end. So even if she was tried for manslaughter, she would still be facing time. Her family feels like she only deserved no time. They don't, or one maybe 3 years. That's what they were wanting. Okay, not happening. There's 2 people's lives lost, whether it was intentional or not. To us, the public, to me, I feel like it was intentional, and that's what the judge saw. So, but the fact that her and her family continue to be unremorseful. She is not remorseful at all. If you listen to the phone calls between her and her mom, there's no remorse. They're literally talking shit about the victims' families, calling them evil. She's celebrating the fact that it's becoming worldwide news and she's in headlines and that possibly Kim Kardashian might reach out to her. Baby, she can't even pass the bar. She ain't gonna help you at all, okay? Kim can't even pass the bar, so... Even when she's arrested, you can tell that she didn't have much remorse. She was more worried about her bracelets that now her family says were given to her by Dom, her last thing from Dom that she has, which I'm like, he bought you a bunch of stuff, sweetie. That's the last thing you have is these bracelets, these rave bracelets. Okay. But even in the documentary, you could tell there was no remorse. She literally was acting for her lawyer. She's like, is that good enough? I don't want it to be, I don't want to come off a certain way. Is that good enough? The girl's not remorseful. Her mother is not remorseful. She wasn't remorseful in her victim impact statement that she gave when she centered around her daughter and she called Davion a new friend. Like Davion being a new friend makes his life less than. And the judge called her it. Thank God for that. But here's my thing. When she goes up to the parole board, they're not gonna parole her. They're not gonna parole her. This is the problem. She could have done them funky little 15 years, sat down, programmed, did what she needed to do, and she would have been out. And she would have been out before like not before 30, in her 30s, and had a whole fulfilling life. But she's not going to, because of the fact that she's being enabled by her parents, enabled by loser clout demon friends like this one right here, this Rosie Graham girl. Mind you, she's on social media. She has like almost 1 million followers on TikTok. Yeah. I got an issue with this one right here. I still got an issue with you because the fact that you would do an interview with Netflix, possibly getting paid and for social status, and not even like interview with the police says a lot about her right here. Yeah. And then you have people who were housed in the same prison as her speaking out about her behavior in prison, saying that she's still the same person. She's mean. She's in toxic relationships. She has a lot of rule violations, apparently. She's been caught with like rugs and stuff. So that's all going to come up at her parole date, along with her nasty attitude she still has and her parents' nasty attitudes. And then you're going to have the victims' families, Dom and Davion's families at that parole date, and they're most likely not going to release her on parole. And if she would have just sat down, done her little funky 15 years, been remorseful and programmed, she probably would have had a chance for being released on parole. And it sounded like Davion's dad was willing to forgive her and give her a chance as long as she took accountability and she, changed her behavior. But since she's not doing that, clearly with the documentary, clearly with the phone calls with her mom, clearly the way that her mom has been on social media, her whole family, that's not going to happen. They're going to say, keep her in there. I actually want to even write myself for her parole date to make sure she stays in there, because there's no remorse for the 2 lives that she took. Like, funky little 15 years for 2 lives is not bad. That's pretty much 7.5 years for each life. You could have just did that time and got out, but you think that but she feels that she's innocent, but she's not innocent. And it's funny, all the people fighting for her, saying that she's innocent, the excuses they're giving, especially when it comes to her health, are not making sense. They don't make sense. They don't make sense. And the fact that she did a couple dry runs at that same site a few days before she did what she did. POTS doesn't work the way that they're trying to say it did. She was sitting down. She wasn't getting up. So she didn't pass out from POTS. She had THC in her system, but it wasn't a high amount, and she was a smoker. So it's just like, it's not, the only thing that's adding up is that Dom was going to leave her, and it's the, if I can't have you, no one else can have you type of situation, because she's a 17-year-old nasty sociopathic brat that her parents raised. That's what I come to the conclusion. But yeah, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, y'all ain't helping that. Her parents are not helping her. They're not helping her. They're literally enabling her to her demise. Like, she's going to stay in there. Her first parole date, she's not going to get paroled. She's not getting paroled. So let me know what you think in the comments. That actually makes me sleep better at night, knowing that this girl won't get out because of the way her family's acting. So, but I want to hear what you guys have to think.